Hi, this is Mike Onesko. Welcome to Renegade Rock here on the Rogue Radio Podcast Network. Every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're bringing all the great interviews and music to you. The first Saturday of every month, we have interviews, and we're starting off 2024 with a very, very cool local Cleveland boy. Great artist. He played with Red 37, Nelson, Slammin Gladys, the Tories, guitarist, singer, JJ Farris. Welcome to Renegade Rock, JJ.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mike Onesko. How you doing today?
Great. I'm reeling after the Browns win, man.
I know we had a house full last night, and two times in 21 years in the playoffs. I think we have room to celebrate over here.
I know, and it's funny. I lived in San Francisco, and I got to go to 5 Super Bowl parades, so it was always bittersweet because the Browns never, made it. So.
Yeah, man. Being a Cleveland sports fan is a rough road, man. But it's wonderful.
Sure is. So, JJ, we started off the show with Dragon Eyed Girl from your last Slammin Gladys release. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration for that song and how it came about, and maybe a little about the session.
Yeah, cool. So we started having the idea to do a second album for Slammin Gladys. Our first one was released in the 90s, and we had a great run then, and we had the idea to kind of get the second one going. So I guess
was that done in LA when you were in LA?
Yeah, we did the album pretty much in LA, I would think. Yeah, we did most of it there. Dave and I, that particular song, Dave had come over. I was in town for a family reunion, actually. It was in August time. I come in every year to Cleveland for a family reunion.
Tell everybody you're a Cleveland native, right?
Yeah, Cleveland native. Lived in Los Angeles lived in Los Angeles forever, and I'm Cleveland native. So I come back every year. My parents are still here, the house I grew up in, so it's awesome. So we came back, and Dave come over, and we go, dude, let's see if we can come up with some ideas. The idea. So we sat in my dad's den, and we came up with Dragon Eyed Girl.
That's a great tune. We played here on Renegade Rock all the time.
Oh, thanks so much, Mike. We had come up with that idea, and it just kind of came together fairly quickly. So that was like,
who is the Dragon Eyed Girl? Who is the Dragon Eyed Girl?
Use your imagination, Mike. I mean, it could be it could be anybody you want it to be.
Right.
But if you watch the video, we have the video it's online. So the video, if you were to look it up, you can kind of see what our interpretation was of the Dragon Eyed Girl, and she's pretty awesome.
She is. Check out and I like that rooftop you're playing on too, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're lucky. We got like a couple hours on a rooftop in downtown LA. We were looking right at the city. It was blazing hot. It was a great video just because of the whole, the atmosphere was amazing. Yeah, so we did most of the album in LA. We recorded. There's a guy named Doug Messenger out there. He's got a studio. He's got an old analog kind of studio. So he hooked us up, got us in there. We did all the basic tracks over there, and then we came back to my studio in LA, and we finished all the overdubs and the vocals and everything, and mixed it all over there.
Great. What do you have at your house, man?
I'm running like a Pro Tools, I guess Pro Tools Ultimate. Is that what we're all on now?
Yeah, right.
A Pro Tools Ultimate rig. It has I got a great. I have like an SSL Sigma, which is my IOs that gets me out.
Nice.
Gets me some headroom. It kind of like emulates what a console would kind of give you, a little bit more headroom. It gives you a little bit more reverb trails, a little bit more delay trails, a little bit more just getting you out of the box a little bit, out of the computer box. It kind of enhances it a bit. So I have that going. I have like an NTI external for my master bus EQ and master bus compressor. I have an Obsidian, it's called. It's kind of like an SSL compressor. So between all those things and then stuff in the box, you can kind of get some good results out of that thing.
Wow. So JJ, what was the beginning of your journey as a guitar player, or what inspired you to want to play music, or did you have a musical family, or?
Yeah, what inspired me was opening the album cover of Kiss Alive 2.
There you go, man.
Dude, when I saw that, I think I was 12 maybe. I don't know how old I was, but I saw that, and I'm like, uh-oh, that's like, well, I want to do that. I just instantly knew that, and I remember the first time I went, there was a gosh, man, maybe you remember, there was a Peaches, there was a music store in like a little shopping area by a Peaches record store back in the day. I can't remember the name, but I remember going in there and it was a little PV Decade amp. It was a little 10-watt amp, a little tiny speaker, and I had like a Harmony Les Paul copy kind of thing that they had at the store. And I'll never forget the very first time you plug in the guitar into the amp and you turn the distortion on just a little bit and you go, and you hit an E chord. And man, that was it.
That's it, baby.
That's all it took, Mike.
I got to see Kiss at Winterland. We saw them on Don Kirshner's rock concert at 2 a.m. one night, and then we saw them at Winterland at a Tuesday night show for $6. And it was like, wow, we showed up and they did their whole show. It was pretty cool, man.
Beautiful. Yeah, my dad took me 77 and 78 and 80. So I got to see 3 shows at a really young age and get out there. The last one, I guess, Dynasty was in 80. So that was the last one I saw. But then we saw him in L.A. probably like...
So that was it. Once you saw Kiss, you were like, I'm getting a guitar and I'm doing...
Yeah.
Where did you get your first guitar from?
Yeah, there was at that... I'm trying to remember the name of that music store right there. You know,
DeFiori's?
Yeah, maybe that was it. Yeah, it was right where that. It was right in West Brooklyn, right off of Brook Park or over there. It was
West Park. Yeah, West Park.
Yeah, it was over one of those areas. But yeah, I got a Harmony. It was a Les Paul copy.
Wow, that was my first guitar too. A Harmony, man.
Right.
A Harmony Rocket.
PV Decade. That was my first amp, and
wow,
that started everything. Yeah.
Well, you're very talented, man. JJ, I'm just like researching your stuff and playing your stuff, and then now we're on the same label. That's like very crazy. So what was the first band you were in? Was that in Cleveland here?
Yeah, first band I was in, it was I had a good friend of mine, Dan Simmons, who I grew up with, basically went to high school with. We were like drummer, guitar player duo. Where did you
go to high school?
I went to high school at Normandy High.
Wow, I go by there all the time, man.
Yeah, Parma, and the first band that we had put together was a band called Final Notice. Final Notice.
That's a good name. That's a good name.
It had nothing to do with me getting final notices in the mail. It just kind of sounded cool. But
were you guys playing covers or doing originals?
Yeah, we were doing covers, and we had some originals as well. And you know, the craziest memory I have of that band is at the old Brooklyn Tavern in Old Brooklyn back in the day. Poison was on their very, very first tour when they very first came out. Their first album. You know, they haven't even broke or anything yet. And I remember we opened up for Poison when I was like 16 years old.
Wow, that must have been nuts.
At the old Brooklyn Tavern. I'll never forget those dudes. It was like a tiny stage, and man, they were all like, you know, big hair, big outfits, and the thing. And then I remember them on that little stage, and they were kind of doing their choreographed moves.
Aren't they from Pennsylvania? Aren't they from Pennsylvania?
Yeah. I think Brett is from Harrisburg maybe, or somewhere around there.
Somewhere, yeah, right.
Yeah, no. So I remember Brett, after the show, he came out and he was like talking to everybody, shaking everybody's hand. I remember how personable he was, and that was like that just was so inspirational, you know, to see that, you know, not even knowing who Poison was.
So, how long did you live in Cleveland before you were inspired to, like so many of us, go out to California? And did your family move out there, or did you just migrate to LA?
You know, that's a good question. Cause I used to go over to the Akron Agora all the time. I used to have a fake ID, and I used to get in there all the time. I used to watch Dave Brooks, our singer from Slammin Gladys. He used to play.
Great guy, great singer, nice guy.
Yeah, there's a band called Gotham City, so I used to watch those guys all the time. They used to be so great, and I used to get just watch them. And I saw the Cleveland scene, and I'm like, you know, at like 16 years old, in my mind, I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do what I want to do here, you know?
Right.
Because I just felt that strongly. So basically the story is I applied for Berklee School of Music in Boston right around, 17, when I was getting ready to graduate and so forth. And the story goes is I got rejected from Berklee because my grade point average, and I was late to apply, and I wasn't a local Boston. guys. So whatever, for whatever reason, I remember reading the letter I got it. My mom gave it to me. I read it and I looked at her, and instantly, like within 2 seconds of me reading the letter, I looked at her and I go, I'm going to California. It was like,
That's
boom.
it.
It was like, so I was pretty determined, man. I had my mind made up that I was going to do something musically, and I didn't know where, but California was my destination by default. And yeah, that's how I ended up out there. So I moved out when I was 18. I got into 1 year of the Musicians Institute out there. I went to GIT and got my feet kind of wet over there, playing on myself. Got a chance to get some experience over there, and yeah, halfway through the year, I was in a band and playing at the Troubadour. So it was a quick thing for me. I was
wow,
on
that's
stage.
great. Now, this is Mike Onesko. You're listening to Mike Onesko's Renegade Rock here on the Rogue Radio Podcast Network. We're talking to great guitar singer J.J. Farris. We're going to take a little break and play a tune from one of the bands that he's actually toured with and played around with, the Nelsons. This is called Love and Affection. We'll be right back with J.J. Farris. Welcome back to Renegade Rock. Hey, we just heard Love and Affection from the Nelsons. Tell us how you ended up meeting the Nelsons, man.
Oh, man.
Ricky Nelson was my idol when I was a kid, man.
Yeah, he was the idol. So as I've learned more about Ricky and the family, I have to say he's such an idol to so many people.
I wanted to be Ricky Nelson so bad, man.
Wow. That's cool, man, to hear that. I met them. Let's see. I was in a band called the Tories in LA, and the very first time I met the Nelsons was we were playing at a place called Billboard Live, which was basically it was Gazzari's back in the day, but they called it Billboard Live when they kind of transformed a couple names. Tories were playing there, and Nelson was also playing there, and I guess Matt Nelson had seen me play or seen the band play, because we really didn't meet them because they were doing their thing in their dressing room, and I know they were on the bill. And after the Tories had kind of disbanded, I started playing acoustic sets on my own.
That's hard to do, man. You're brave.
Dude, let me tell you just quick, it was the most daunting thing that I'd ever done, because I'm not necessarily a singer per se. I was more the guitar player in the band, so to get out there and do that was daunting. But it was the best thing that I ever did. So I was out there playing, acoustic by myself, just to get out and keep it going and kind of grow. And after the show was over, I was approached by this guy with a hat on. Didn't recognize him, and he's with this really hot girl, and he goes, great show. He goes, you might know who I am. He hands me his card, and it says Matthew Nelson. I'm like, dude. and so he kind of came out. I guess he had seen.
Did he have the real long hair?
Yeah. He had the hair going. It was in a hat though, so I really didn't know, And so that was how we met. He approached me at my gig. We kind of exchanged numbers, and within 2 weeks after that, we had pretty much a full set of music written. We went quick, man. It was
wow.
We got together, and it was like instantaneous how we.
That's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, we just it was not a lot of thinking, just a lot of feel, a lot of vibe, and it just came out. And lyrics were flowing, riffs were going, and everything was just right. Everything was right for all the right reasons. And we did that, and we were playing shows probably like a month into meeting each other there. And the rest is history. We made an album together. We went to Sound City, the infamous Sound City.
Wow, I wish I could have went there. Jeez, what a place.
We recorded the whole thing with an engineer by the name of Jim Wirt. Who's done a lot of stuff with No Doubt and Incubus and a lot of cool LA bands.
Oh, yeah.
He came out to produce us, and we did the whole album in 5 days. It was all just stream of consciousness. There was no overdubs. We overdubbed an acoustic and maybe one or two solos, but other than that, it was literally like basic tracks for day one, maybe day two. And then we sat there when Matt and I, we were between the door. I'll never forget this. I was singing live, and he was like within a glass door. And we looked at each other. We couldn't, obviously there's no bleed, so we were able to do it. We just did the whole thing just like it was live. And that album is still to this day like one of our favorite things that we had ever done together, because of the vibe that we created and what we captured in those 5 days.
Wow, I'm gonna have to delve into that and to start playing them more on the show. That is so killer, man. I mean, didn't you just tour with them too, just recently, right?
Yeah, so that's how I originally met Matt. And back then, Gunnar, I met a couple times here and there, but I never really knew him as a person. Really, it was just like when he came in town, or he had come to a couple of the Red 37 shows and so forth. So I guess I got a call in 2018. Nelson had a festival in Nottingham, England. And they had asked me if I wanted to play these couple shows. They had Nottingham, England, and then they had the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville.
Wow.
And, so I was able to learn the songs back then, and I did those two shows. So yeah, we went to Nottingham. We headlined one of the nights over there. It was great. And then we played the famous Ryman Auditorium together. And it was the Ryman Auditorium was absolutely one of the most memorable gigs I've ever had, because as the story goes, and what I learned when I was on stage, is that when Ozzy and Harriet, Ozzy used to connect the big band, and they used to play at the Ryman back in the day with the big band and so forth. And they had 3 standing ovations apparently. And then Ricky, the infamous story after the Madison Square Garden, he got booed off the stage, came back to Nashville, and he played the Ryman, and he, wrote Garden Party, and that whole song was done. That he got 3 standing ovations when he played the Ryman. So here we are. The Nelson brothers had never played the Ryman. I was on stage with them. We had played, I forget what song it was. We got our first standing ovation, and then we had our second standing ovation, and then we played Garden Party together, and then we got our third standing ovation together. And I was on stage.
Man, that's giving me the hairs are standing up on my arms, man. That's a good story.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
I was on stage, and every hair on my arm was standing up, and I was the most surreal thing to be part of, not knowing that I was even going. It was just one of those things, and it just kind of happened. So we did those couple shows then, and we kind of bonded, and Gunnar was so happy. Both of them were so happy the way that we sounded. He said it was the best that Nelson had ever sounded for many years. So they got the bug going again. So this last August, we had an opportunity. We did about 12 dates. We were playing with Tesla and Winger and
wow.
And, Great White and a bunch of
the whole 80s catalog there, man.
Yeah, so we did some cool little 3-band bills. Some of them were headlining, and some we played here at the Goodyear Theater in Akron, and we did some great shows. So I got a chance to play more shows. And then 2024, it looks like we're going to be kind of busy from the feedback we got from the shows we did.
Well, good for you, man. That's very exciting, man. So were you involved in like the LA studio scene? Did you get hooked into that thing? Or for a while, were you playing sessions on commercials or movie stuff?
Yeah, I did get involved with that. Like, gosh, it was like maybe at least 20 years ago to say, when we did the Red 37 album with Matt, when I did that album together, we had a song. The first song was called Crawl My Way Out. And it was like a ballroom blitz kind of vibe, real like real kind of, shuffly kind of train beat kind of going. And
right.
That song picked up the ear of one of Trail Redder, who's now one of my best buddies. He loved that song, and he cut it into a trailer. I think it was for I can't remember the movie, maybe Ice Age or something like that. And it kind of started me into the trailer world, like getting music.
Wow, and I wish I could get hooked into that scene, man. What a cool scene.
Yeah, so he got me hooked up into the trailer world from that song. And
where you get money, right? You actually get royalties.
Yeah. So what's happened now is over the years of doing that, I spent a lot of years doing music, like creating. Like a lot of times they want like a knockoff of like a Green Day song, or a knockoff of like a
right.
Or because they can't afford to pay the big money, so they want someone to knock it off, or they want something that feels like it, or they might just want an original track that has nothing to do with anything famous, just something that feels like piano piece, or it could be anything. It could be a sound effect. It's funny because lately I've been involved with sound effects for some reason. That's what I do in LA. I create sound effects.
Wow, what a pretty cool job, man.
Yeah, sound design and sound effects. I have a business partner in Nashville, and together.
Did you ever run into Jeff Trott?
I don't know Jeff Trott. No.
We had him. He was our interview 2 months ago, and he was writing tunes with all those big tunes for Sheryl Crow, and he lives in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
He's in Nashville now, but he was in LA for the longest time.
Wow. Yeah, name sounds familiar. I've never met him, but that's awesome. I'll have to look him up, Mike.
He was in Wire Train. Do you remember that band?
Yeah, for sure.
So JJ, so you're in LA, you're playing with the Nelsons. I mean, you're living the life, man. You're living the dream. Did you ever think all this would happen all those years ago when you told your mom, "I'm going to California"?
It's weird that you say that because my mom, speaking of my mom in California and all that in Nelson, I have a really, really, really strong memory. My mom used to tell me, if you want to be somewhere, visualize yourself being there. And at a young age, I kind of really took that to heart. She was very much into the Chinese astrology and getting readings and all that stuff. And there was a lot of positive energy going with that. She said, just visualize yourself being, in that moment or on stage or on the video or whatever. So I used to literally go to concerts, and if it was Ozzy with Jakey Lee or something, I'd visualize myself on stage. Or if I saw Steve Vai on stage, I'd visualize myself there. So I remember seeing the Nelson video. I think it was After the Rain or whatever video it was when they were real popular on MTV. And I literally, Brett Garseth, the guitar player, I go, that's me. I visualize myself being in that situation. So I don't know how it happened. I don't know if that's possible to kind of like transform yourself or like that.
Of course, man. I do it all the time, man.
Yeah,
I'm doing the same thing. I'm a kid from Cleveland, living my dream. I mean, it's just great.
I don't really know how or what, but it's kind of, you just kind of put yourself in that moment. It was like you put it out in the universe, and sometimes the universe comes back to reward you. Sometimes it's interesting.
It's great. It was fun meeting you down at the Gym Machine party at that bar in the Flats. So, JJ, we're running out of time. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for any young up-and-coming guitarists that are trying to make it in the business?
Yeah, man. All I can say is practice. Don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to get out there and play. And I read an article when I was a kid that 2 hours of practicing in your room is equivalent to playing a show. So in other words, if you play one show out in front of people, no matter if it's one person or 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. That's equivalent to 2 weeks of practice on your own in your bedroom. So what I'm saying by that is get out and play. If you have music, record it and put it out, because you're going to find your fans. Whatever you do, people will find you if you're genuine yourself. Be genuine yourself, and people will find you.
JJ, those are very, very great words. I admire you for saying that, and I agree totally with you. And thank you so much for coming on Renegade Rock. I mean, just really cool to finally talk to you on the phone and find out more about you. And we're label mates. It's pretty fun, man. I'm having a good time on Gym Machine Records.
All right, Michael, we have to make sure in 24 that we do some kind of collaboration. We put it out on Jib. We got to get that going.
I've already talked to John about that. We definitely have to do that. And I told John we got to come up with a Gym Machine Christmas record too, man.
Man, let's do that. Let's start planning now, because we have to get that done by July, August, and get some license and get some placements.
All right. When we're off the show here, I got a couple other more questions for you, so don't hang up. Once again, let's have a big thanks for JJ Farris coming on Mike Onesko's Renegade Rock. We'll see you again, JJ.
All right, Mike. Thanks so much. We'll see you again.